How long have I been muted? Have I been muted this whole time? I think I was muted. I thought I unmuted it. Well, we were muted and I'm back. How long? Could you hear my voice at all just now? Anyways, what I was saying was that the NASDAQ is basically flat, slightly red. Oil is elevated on the day. 2 days? Okay, yeah, that figures. All right, the whole time. Okay, I'm dumb. Y'all are smart. I'm sorry. But yeah, so again, oil's elevated on a little bit more uncertainty. NASDAQ is flat. S&P 500 is flat. Mostly flat to red today in NASDAQ and S&P. Dow is red. NASDAQ sitting right around 25,000. Gold sitting right around 5,000 this morning. And then again, if you kind of saw what we saw earlier, Bitcoin is sitting around 68s to 69s this morning. Here's Bitcoin. Again, it's down a little bit on the day. Pushed back up over the weekend. Got back up to almost 70 or over 72,000 for a little while. Didn't really hold. HIMS is down today. HIMS stock, it's down. Eli Lilly, or no, not Eli Lilly. Novo is coming out, basically taking legal action against HIMS for basically what they're saying is non-approved drugs for HIMS, and so HIMS is dropping a big percentage. I am in HIMS, but luckily it's like 3 shares. So while we're down, it's not the end of the world down. We're not down that much. I thought you were meditating. I should have been meditating, honestly, for this day. Yeah, at least the chat pops off when I'm muted, huh? That's good, I guess. Optimism. All right, guys. Top 3 most muted. Any good news this week? Yeah, this week we got a lot of stuff going on. So this week, if you look at the economic calendar, what are these ads, dude? Like, can advertise. Get rid of them. Like, they just force it. Honestly, these news sites are getting out of control with these advertisements. Like they've gotten so much worse the last 6 months. Like, every freaking news site in the world posts an article and then they want you to pay for it. You know? It's like they found something to make money, but it's kind of destroying the news articles. I'm not paying $1.25 just to have access to your news every day. I refuse. Anyways, today we're pretty slow. We don't have a lot of stuff going on today. Bostic speaks at 10:15 or at 10:50. Christopher Waller speaks at 1:30. Governor Moran speaks at 2:30, and then Stephen Moran speaks again on a podcast at 5. None of that stuff should move markets in a big, meaningful way. You never know. But none of that stuff should move markets in a big, meaningful way. But tomorrow we have retail sales, import-export data, and retail sales data. So that might do something. Wednesday we have the jobs report that we were supposed to get last Friday. So Wednesday we're getting the jobs report that we were supposed to get last Friday. Jobs are expected at 55K. Unemployment expected at 4.4%. That'll be a big report. Jobless claims on Thursday. And then CPI inflation data on Friday. So we got a lot of stuff this week, honestly. There's a bunch of stuff to talk about this week. Today's a little bit slower, but it's the day after the Super Bowl. I think, I think half the people are still sleeping in. And yeah, again, markets are a little quiet. Again, HIMS is down 17% on the day. Novo Nordisk says it's suing the company for making knockoffs of its obesity drugs. The question is, do we get software rebounding today? Again, do we get software rebounding today? We can take a look at some of these other stocks. PayPal's been holding a little bit well, so that's good. Tech, let's see if tech continues to sell off. Nvidia is still sitting at 184s right now, so right around 184s for Nvidia. Again, Microsoft still down at 400s. Alphabet at 320s. Look like AppLovin gapping up a little bit on the day at 125s. But again, the news is a little light. Warner Bros. Discovery says HBO is going to launch HBO Max in UK and Ireland in March. Good. What Amazon's doing. Amazon dropped earnings last week. They are down again today. They have really negatively reacted to their earnings, although they have gotten bought back up a little bit from the drop. So they dropped pretty significantly down to under 200s for a little while for Amazon, and they have slowly fought their way back up to 210s right now where they're sitting. So they're back up a little bit. Let's see if they continue to make a bounce back here. Isn't Powell speaking? When? When's Powell supposed to speak? The only thing I can think of is the semi-annual monetary policy report. But I don't think that is this week. At least they haven't said anything about it yet. With what's going on, it's been hard to figure out when Powell's actually speaking. Usually they do what's called the semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress, in which Powell speaks twice a year. For that, he testifies before the House and the Senate. And it's basically just posturing from both sides, really, is all it really, honestly, it is. It's both sides trying to frame things in their favor. And, you know, that's how it goes. I'm checking the calendar right now. I don't think he's speaking this week. Again, Waller, Moran speak today, later. Moran also speaks Thursday. Yeah, I don't see Powell speaking anytime soon. I don't think they've even scheduled it. What's up, Jono? What's up, Kato? I don't know, Dr. Crypto. I not unless deep people involved in markets. Or not unless people that are involved in markets are in there somehow in the testimony, which I doubt. But maybe. Yeah, software as a service are down. So you can look at like CRM. The CRM down pretty big in software. Salesforce, Snowflake down pretty significantly here. Docu down. Shopify down. CrowdStrike down. So yeah, software stocks are still slumping. They haven't really bounced back much except for this little bounce back on Friday. But software companies, software as a service specifically, SaaS, let's have a nice stable week. I mean, we got a bunch of data this week, so we'll see how stable it is. There is a bunch of stuff to talk about this week. Iran says 60% uranium dilution hinges on full sanctions relief. Is it time for crypto and Bitcoin to bounce back, though? I was a little bit more optimistic this week, and I was worried about what would happen just because a lot of the time, crypto moves over the weekend when other markets are closed. And so I was worried we'd see some big moves, but we actually had some upward push action in crypto this weekend. Although we didn't really hold into today. We, by yesterday, we had pushed up some from the lows down here. Got up to 70s. And then this morning, we just kind of slumped right back down here. So we'll see what happens. We're still in the 60s. We're back up from this super low level that we were in on the 5th and 6th, where we tapped 60,000. Now we're up to 68s. So we're back up some here. Let's see if we hold. Yeah, silver. Again, gold and silver up. Silver's up to 80 plus right now. So silver slightly over 80. It's right at $80 an ounce. So silver and gold are up a little bit, but let's do a poll. What's a good poll? Does the market rebound this week or continue its trend down? All right, there's the poll. Vote on the poll. Does the market rebound this week or continue its trend down? I honestly use both volume and RSI. You only see one chart here, but I put a bunch of different charts up below you. So, yeah, I use RSI as well. Usually it just depends on what I'm looking at. I like volume though. No idea about anything anymore. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a little bit quieter of a day today for sure. Again, Bitcoin sitting at 69s right now. Let's see if we can get back over it. We will be trading some today, at least trying to. I'm actually green on the day, specifically from Oracle. So Oracle right now pushing back up still, which is good. Oracle up to almost 150s right now. So Oracle is making moves. But again, basically what's going on is we're kind of in like pause and wait territory. I would say US futures are flat, slightly green. I think a lot of markets are waiting for economic data we have this week to guide us here. Earnings season is basically over. We have Nvidia earnings in a couple weeks, but earnings season basically over. Here is treasury yields right now. So treasury yields, honestly, if we look at like a 5-day chart, they have rebounded a little bit. The treasury yields are up. Investors are waiting all the economic data getting baked into some of this economic data we have going on this week. And so you can see yields are a little bit higher. If we take a look at rate odds for next month in March, I believe the rate decision's early March. Yeah, it's mid-March. It's March 17th, 18th. I think. Yeah, it's March 18th. If the Fed watch tool was down or what? Watch tool not loading for. Yiddish. Yeah. AbbVie, I'm checking out its sanctions. If you don't mind. Gonna count down, puts Wall strong last Friday. Hi ho, Silver. Yeah, Silver's doing something. I'm in Oracle as well. Let's see if Oracle holds. I'm green on the day because of Oracle specifically. Apple started to rebound up a little bit, it looked like, as well. Here's Apple. 277s. And the problem with HIMS is that Novo is a huge company, right? So HIMS is dumping down. Novo's a big company. And so if they're coming after HIMS, then you know, people are nervous for HIMS. Yeah. Look. HIMS is down significantly here. And again, this is after the news of Novo coming after them. Yeah, Novo's coming after them for selling low-quality weight loss drugs, is what they say the deal is. If you take a look at the odds for a rate cut here, we finally got it loaded up. 82% think we're going to pause in March. Still, 18% is not nothing. Now, this will change as we get closer to the FOMC decision, but currently we're at 18% likelihood for an FOMC rate cut in March. So, see what happens. NASDAQ, again, sitting right around 25K. Markets are a little bit more quiet this morning. Kroger's confirming Walmart executive Greg Foran as its next CEO. The Shanghai Futures Exchange is reportedly going to tweak crude oil and copper futures margin requirements, apparently. And again, looking for more breaking news. It's a little quiet today. There's not a lot going on. Again, Lyft is debuting teen accounts about 2 years after Uber. They're still a little bit delayed on Uber. Netflix's proposed $82.7 billion acquisition of Warner Bros. Is still facing regulatory scrutiny from the U.S. and European authorities. The company guided for slower 26 revenue growth of 12 to 14% and also paused share repurchases. Again, Netflix is green on the day, though. If you look at Amazon, Amazon did announce huge capex last week, $200 billion for 2026. Triggered a big decline. AWS reached $142 billion annual revenue run rate, 24% growth driven by AI. On the RSI, it does say it's oversold right now at 20. So, I'm in Netflix. I hope Netflix goes up. Again, AMD is still down pretty significantly from its earnings here. AMD earnings came out at 266, now at 207s. Good quarter four numbers for AMD though, although investors are worried about reliance on OpenAI for GPU sales. So another thing the RSI is oversold on is PayPal, which I'm in right now. I'm probably just gonna sit in it though. I don't think I'm gonna add to it or sell it. I think I'm just gonna. Like, I think this might be reasonable to attack a bounce in, but again, I gotta just wait for it. Him's using targeting advertising. Are the good times over? Yeah, I'm in. All right, guys. So yeah, I'm looking at Hims. I don't know what I want to do. I'm in Hims right now, but it's very small. Very small. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I should add to it though. Are the good times over? Run like the wind. I forget that major company that said they were making a cheaper alternative to Hims. Looking at AbbVie, I'm checking out its action. Can't see a rate cut until June. Yeah, the odds of a rate cut are not super high until June, which is when you'll see Warsh take office. So, again, if you look at the odds here, the odds as of now about 18%. If you look at June, though, it shoots up to over 50% chance we'll get at least 125 basis point cut before June or earlier. So, yeah, so again, there's rumors that the UK's Starmer is going to plan to resign today. A lot of people have come out saying that's not true. UK PM Starmer spokesperson says Prime Minister is getting on with the job delivering change to Britain, has no plan to step aside. So it doesn't look like Starmer's stepping down, despite the rumors of that. And yeah, for April, it's looking like it's only 30% chance we get a 25 basis point cut April or earlier. Again, looking at oil and silver. Oil's elevated today. Silver is still over 80s here. So silver has bounced back a decent amount. It's not where it was at the 120s, but silver is up to 80s, which is good. It got down to 63 or 64. You know, and again, I think a lot of stuff's waiting for this week. I think crypto might be waiting some for some of this economic data. Again, Bitcoin sitting right at 69,000. And so I think the market's kind of just waiting on this economic report week that we have coming out. We have non-farm payrolls, unemployment Wednesday, retail sales, import-export data tomorrow on Tuesday, jobless claims Thursday, CPI inflation data on Friday. So we got a bunch of different stuff coming out this week. After today, we got something every single day this week. So after today, we got a bunch of stuff, including retail sales and more next tomorrow. So, man, this cold I have, whatever it is, dude, is just, you know, took too long. Yeah, there's also stuff going on. There's also stuff going on with the Bank of Japan. So Japan just handed Prime Minister Takaichi, a huge election win that gives her a free hand to push big fiscal stimulus. But the Bank of Japan is holding rates at 0.75%, 75 basis points. But it's lining up more hikes if the yen keeps sliding and inflation stays sticky. So maybe some Bank of Japan worries here going on right now. Sideways chop is tough. My brother in the UK isn't happy with Stormer. How's the Nasdaq still at 20? Nasdaq is at 25,000. Look at it. Nasdaq is sitting at 25 plus, almost 25.1 right now. 25,107 is the previous closing price. So it's still over 25,000 on the Nasdaq here. AMD is bouncing. Still down. AMD is actually still technically down on the day here if you look at it. Previous closing price is right around 208, 209. It's at 207s right now. Here's this light blue line is the previous close. So a lot of this stuff's still down, to be honest. Market's rejecting 5-day moving average on the daily. Yeah. He's happy head, not him. Actually grew some of my hair back. Well, yeah, they're all giving you basically things like it's like minoxidil, Propecia, you know, and that's basically it for hair stuff. I mean, I don't know if they're doing other stuff. I don't know. My hair's not falling out. Luckily, I was worried. They say it comes from your mom's dad, and my mom's dad was bald at 25. You know. But for somehow that wasn't true, and I have my dad's hair. My dad's still got a full head of hair at 70, so I have my dad's hair, luckily. But yeah. Yeah, I'm looking up news here. It's a little quiet. Clarita. Okay. So, Richard Clarita is an American economist, served as the 21st vice chair of the Federal Reserve from 2018 to 2022. Clarita is speaking right now. He says Warsh will have to work with the committee to make changes. He says it's possible to run monetary policy without forward guide. And Clarita says, I think it will be the Warsh Fed. He says Warsh is accomplished and respected. So yeah, basically coming out supportive of Warsh. Novo also says they're going to buy back DKK 3.8 billion worth of shares between February and May as part of its previously announced DKK 15 billion program. Former Fed Vice Chair Clarita says the Fed chairman almost always gets his way in a Bloomberg TV interview. And again, this is a former Fed Vice Chairman Clarita saying that the Fed chair almost always gets his way, basically saying that when Warsh takes office, we'll probably see some more dovish action. Yeah, I mean, I have the Bitcoin chart. We're kind of moving back and forth between big ones here. Here's Bitcoin. Yeah, Art's ARM doing well when they had terrible earnings. Yeah, ARM did get bought back up pretty significantly. If you look at ARM, Bitcoin again, I was optimistic over the weekend. It was back over 70,000. It's now sitting at 60 here. So again, we'll see. But I was more optimistic over the weekend. It kind of corrected a little bit back down this morning. It's at 60s now. It was over 70s for a while. Yeah, but ARM here, man, they have actually made a pretty big move from earnings. Look, so ARM earnings came out right here. ARM is one of the only tech stocks that reacted negatively that's actually green now from their earnings report. So ARM making some moves. Again, Clarita's still speaking, I think. So the Indian foreign minister says foremost priority is to safeguard interests of Indian consumers on energy. Priority to ensure consumers receive adequate energy at the right price and through reliable and secure supplies. Says not dependent on any single source for crude oil, nor do we intend to be. Says they're looking to maintain multiple sources of supply, diversify them as needed. Also, Clarida still speaking. They say it's appropriate for the Fed and the Treasury to talk balancing goals. So, again, former Vice Fed Chair Clarida speaking right now on policy. Let's see if we can trade a little bit today. Again, we're kind of flat right now, though, so I don't think today's necessarily a super easy day. See. Hold on, let me check this real quick. Yeah, so again, Takaichi's landslide snap election win was yesterday, February 8th, and the Bank of Japan confirmed its 75 basis point policy rate and said essentially it might be more hawkish, more hikes if needed last time we saw them. So you should have yen carrying trade back on the menu with the hawkish Bank of Japan, maybe. Visa. So I see some people talking about Visa here. We can take a look at Visa, but Visa, like, look how flat this company is. This is an hourly chart. I mean, that doesn't look good to me. Maybe I gotta look longer term for Visa. But honestly, the yearly chart's kind of flat. They've been sideways for a year plus now. So that's the only thing worrying me about Visa. All right, guys. So, yeah, we'll see what we get. Again, here's Bitcoin. NASDAQ is very flat right now, man. They are not doing too much. I'm reading the chat. Yeah, 10% cap on credit cards is what it's looking like. I think Clarita's still speaking. So Google parent company Alphabet kicks off 7-part US dollar bond sale. Florida's still speaking. He says Warsh sees the U.S. economy as the Fed did in December. I think there's upside case for a U.S. economy this year. Again, I see people talking about AbbVie here. Any other stocks you guys think look interesting? What are you guys watching the most today? Looking at our poll, we did a poll earlier. And the poll says 57% think the market continues down this week. 43% think we rebound. So bears are a little bit more vocal this today. Yet it's kind of quiet. The Super Bowl was yesterday. Seahawks won. Everybody kind of knew the Seahawks were gonna win. Yeah, Intel shooting up. Again, list some stocks if you want me to take a look at them. Robinhood, man, is bouncing back a little bit. Hit 60s. But this thing has had a big downfall. With crypto is what this is. Down from 150s all the way down to 80s right now. So still pretty freaking low. But doing better than it was, honestly. It was down at 60s, which was scaring a lot of people. Blink charging stations, please. Supermicro Semiconductors, Copex this week. Gold. Yeah, Blink. There's no way I'm touching this thing. Again, like Blink. This is one of those stocks that maybe it does really well, but it's probably not going to. The long-term chart's terrible. It's lost a lot of hype. I think there's been an overall EV slump recently as well. If you look at a 4-hour chart since October, this thing has dropped from 280s all the way down to $71 a share. And again, I'm not an investment professional, but I'm not buying this thing, obviously. I mean, do whatever you want to do, but I'm not. Again, it's just, it looks like a terrible penny stock. It's probably going to fail. Again, people like to look at these companies like, people like to buy penny stocks, and they think they're buying up Amazon. There's a lot of marketing for these terrible companies because these terrible companies need good marketing because they're terrible. And it basically talks new investors into buying these up, and they think they're making these big deals. Like, oh, like, look at this trade I'm getting in. Most of the time, they just lose their money, you know, because again, I've said this 1,000 times, but I think this is the easiest way to understand it, is that you want to watch what big money does. Big money doesn't buy up stuff like this. You know why? It's because these are usually terrible companies. I'm not saying this one is. Maybe this one's different. Maybe this one's resilient. I don't know. I'm not buying this thing. I don't like it at all. But you guys know that about me. I don't really like penny stocks. Yeah, Bitcoin. Economic plan to have AI chips bring back jobs was a bad idea. Better producing something that the average American can buy. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the net effect of it is, but MicroStrategy. Yeah, Strategy actually went up from their earnings report if you look at it here. I mean, it's not super significant regardless, but it's back up from 100 to 130. I guess that's 30%. I mean, it got down to $100. It's back up to 130. So it's up 30% from its lows. But, you know, again, with Bitcoin falling down, again, here's Bitcoin this morning. We'll see if Bitcoin makes some moves today. Again, it's still near 70,000, 69,000. But yeah, it's still been a struggle for some of these. Again, we still have Fed's Clarita did talk about Warsh this morning. Says Warsh sees the U.S. economy as the Fed did in December. Upside case for U.S. economy this year. Says it's appropriate for the Fed and the Treasury to be talking balancing goals. Says Warsh has to work with the Fed to make change. Fed chair almost always gets his or her way. Says it's possible to run monetary policy without a forward guide. And this is on Bloomberg TV right now. But yeah, Bitcoin at 69,000. Is anybody interested in buying Bitcoin right now? Again, is anybody interested in buying Bitcoin? Again, software stocks have been on a downturn. Nike going down? I don't know. Oh, not really. I'm in at 50s. It's at 60s. Not doing that yet. Maybe it will. I don't know. It's not doing it yet. No Bitcoin? I should do a poll for this. Is it time to buy Bitcoin, guys? No Bitcoin? Not until it's below 56. Under 60? No one needs to hurry. I'm going to do a poll. We got enough comments quickly on this. 71,000-ish rejecting because of my large resistance, in my opinion. Yeah, let's do a poll. Is it time to buy Bitcoin? Not investment advice. Time to buy Bitcoin. Vote on that poll. Let me know. ECA to Dogecoin. What's Dogecoin at nowadays? That 9 cents? Dogecoin is cool and all, but here's the problem. What does Dogecoin do? Like, I know the cool thing for me to do is just to kind of like wildly pump these up and just make everybody think they bought it and tell everybody to buy. I get it. That's the cool thing to do. I understand. But what does Dogecoin actually do? And I already know the responses I'm going to get. They're going to say, well, what does Bitcoin do? Bitcoin is the base of blockchain. Bitcoin's obviously different. Dogecoin doesn't actually do anything. I think I'm actually into a little Dogecoin. So, not like I'm a Dogecoin hater, but. All right, so looking at our poll already, we got almost 100 votes in a minute. 61% say no, it's not time to buy Bitcoin. 39% say yes. It does nothing and promises nothing. The Doge is going to the moon? Yeah, hey, maybe it does. I don't know. Buy Bitcoin, ETH, Sola. Everybody that gets scared about their Bitcoin, just sell it to me. Doge is going to the moon. It might literally go to the moon, but the question is, how long does that take? Again, U.S. defense contractor Hegseth says overnight U.S. military conducted right-of-visit maritime interdiction and boarding of the Aquila 2 without incident. We also have the Bank of France Governor Villeroy stepping down. That news was just announced. Outside of that, it's a little quiet here. I'm looking up market news, but again, the Bank of England is going to launch an issuance operation to finance FX reserves, a 3-year USD bond expected in the near future. And one of the things that we're seeing from Clarita says the Fed chair almost always gets his or her way, and what he's talking about here is how when Warsh takes office, which is going to be again, when Warsh takes office, what he's essentially saying is that we're going to get a much more dovish Fed if Warsh is dovish. The problem in the question here is Warsh actually going to be dovish? And I think this is obviously something that is up for debate. Because if you look at his history, historically, Warsh has been very fearful of inflation. He's been very critical of money printing. He's been much more hawkish and much more fearful of inflation, less willing to just super stimulate the economy. And so it's not like Warsh is just an obvious dove. I think the president picked him, and I think the dollar is the concern right now. And that's maybe why he picked him. The dollar index had been falling. Warsh's nomination did push the dollar back up a little bit from where it was in late January. But again, Warsh historically was Fed governor. He repeatedly warned that keeping rates too low for too long could unanchor inflation expectations. He talked tougher on inflation than the data seemed to justify. He opposed Bernanke's QE2 and ultimately resigned in 2011 over concerns that repeated quantitative easing and a swelling balance sheet were distorting markets and setting up future problems. This was in 2011 from Warsh. So again, think about it like that. So again, Warsh literally resigned in 2011, and what he blamed it on was that repeated money printing through quantitative easing and a swelling balance sheet were distorting markets and setting up future problems. If you want to know why markets are reacting to Warsh, and in the market's mind, interpreting it as hawkish. This is why. He also argues inflation is fundamentally driven by fiscal excess plus money printing, which is QE in a bloated balance sheet. He has long pushed for a smaller Fed balance sheet, less reliance on quantitative easing, and more orthodox policy. So, hawkish wash potentially coming. We'll see though. Again, the president picked him, so maybe he knows something. Yeah. So Villeroy says he has informed Macron, ECB's Lagarde, of his decision. He said the decision is personal, leaving to head the foundation. He says to step down more than a year before mandate ends, and that the timing sufficient to organize succession calmly. The decision is personal, and he's leaving to head the foundation. This is the European Central Bank's Villeroy stepping down. Again, the Nasdaq's starting to almost go green on the day. It's trying to fight its way back up. Yeah. And Nasdaq just tapped green for a split second here, so got a little green in the Nasdaq. See if it holds. But Nasdaq trying to go slightly green. I trade a little bit of both, to be honest. Yeah, I'm looking at news here as well. So, but again, you have to understand, like, historically, Warsh was hawkish. But he has criticized Powell. I saw somebody in the comments mentioned this. He has criticized Powell for not cutting rates more and for being too hesitant to ease once inflation started to come down. So in 25, in November, Warsh argued that the Fed under Powell had made, quote, unwise choices, kept a bloated balance sheet, and should lower interest rates while shrinking the balance sheet to better support households and small to medium-sized businesses. In July, he also explicitly called the Feds reluctant to cut rates a, quote, mark against them, saying policy was too tight and that interest rates ought to be reduced. The question is, was he saying this to get the Fed chairman job? I don't think so. I think what it looks like to me for Warsh is that Warsh is going to be critical of quantitative easing in money printing, but okay with rate cuts. And again, I kind of like, I'm not picking sides, but I kind of agree with Warsh in this instance, right? Like, I think if you want to know what causes inflation, most of the time it's expanding the Fed's balance sheet through money printing, quantitative easing. That causes inflation much more than just rate cuts in general. And so he's correct in this. Okay, let's see what gold and silver are doing today. I see gold and silver over 5K right now. Is Hims bouncing up a little bit again? Hims getting attacked essentially by it doesn't look like Hims is bouncing to me. Hims is getting attacked basically by Novo, basically saying that they are going after them for using bad quality weight loss drugs or counterfeits or something. Let me see the exact news story for Hims, but it's not good. And Novo's a huge freaking company, and so if they're coming after them, it's not good. So yeah, they're getting sued. Alleged patent infringement over, quote, knockoff Wegovy and Ozempic. What they're saying this is from. Powell resided over the worst inflation. Michael Saylor just announced that they bought 1,142 Bitcoin as of February 8th. They said we hodl 714,000 Bitcoin acquired for $54 billion at 76,000 per coin. They're still underwater, but the NASDAQ is actually slightly green on the day here. Slightly green on the day. Joe Saylor holding the markets up, then he shorts futures. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what strategy does today. I'm curious. But again, Michael Saylor. MicroStrategy buys over 1,100 Bitcoin, average purchase price of 78,815. So, again, you can look at Bitcoin. That's 69,000 right now, 69K. See if it holds. Yeah, Novo. I mean, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still under 69,000 here. Nvidia climbing back up. Yeah, Nvidia, again, it's been on a little run here. Look, so Nvidia is what's driving some of this move. Microchips in general, I would say. Again, Nvidia, AMD both up. Again, Apple went green on the day as well. So Apple, Alphabet, rebounding a little bit. But again, most things are pretty flat ahead of this data release week. You know, it's a data release week. We got stuff going on. So we'll see. All right, guys. So again, I might trade a little bit on this. We'll see. NASDAQ is back up to 25,140s here. I don't really see any other breaking news. I see ChatGPT is exceeding 10% monthly growth according to CNBC, and they're preparing to launch updated chat model this week for OpenAI. So again, OpenAI is preparing to launch updated chat model this week according to CNBC. I don't know, the last few announcements of this haven't really helped. Again, ahead of the Alphabet deal, roughly 6 firms are weighing U.S. IG bond sales today, according to Bloomberg. Sam Altman is touting OpenAI's re-accelerating growth on CNBC. He's aiming to launch a new model with ChatGPT this week, according to him. So that could be what's driving some of these microchips higher. Nvidia specifically going up on this news. Again, new ChatGPT model this week. I think people are looking at it as optimistic maybe for some of this stuff. Hey, what's up, Freddie? Yeah, again, I think a lot of people are still going to be sleeping today. U.S. Bitcoin reserve loses nearly 5 billion. Yeah, I mean, again, it's been down a lot. It's been down a lot. A lot of this stuff has. And again, we don't really have any economic data today, right now. And the Nasdaq's starting to climb higher here, though. Again, software as a service companies. Look at Nvidia here, chat. 185s. Maybe I should buy Nvidia just for like a trade. I don't know. I'm pretty green on the day though. Oracle. Again, Oracle's up to 150 plus right now, which is good. Let's see if it continues back up. My patience paid off with Oracle. Again, I bought this, sat in it on the drop, and now we're green on the day at least. PayPal's up today too, so is SoFi. I don't know whether I should average into SoFi. I'm also into Netflix. Home Depot's still doing really well for me. Hims today is not, but again, I got like 3 shares of Hims, so not the end of the world for that one. I think we're mid-cycle AI, just getting into Gemini. Gemini is very good. Perplexity is very good. Gemini is very good. I don't actually like ChatGPT a lot. I just don't like it. Grok's okay. Perplexity's great. Gemini's great. But again, like there's some of them, like they're all good for different things here. So look at the Nasdaq, look at Oracle, look at Nvidia run here. But again, some of them are good for different things. It just depends on what you're using. Again, Ferrari says Ferrari loses its new full electric sports car. Maybe we can take a look at this. We don't really see one. Oh yeah, here it is. It looks kind of cool. I don't know though, man. I don't like. Are y'all gonna buy a Ferrari? If y'all had the money, would y'all buy a Ferrari EV or a regular Ferrari? You know? I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd... Ferraris are known for their motors. I don't know if I'd buy a Ferrari EV. The Tesla Plaid's still probably beating it, you know, realistically. Again, look at this level on the Nasdaq. I don't know where I drew this level from, but look at it. No, see, most people agree with me. They're not buying a Ferrari EV either. I mean, look, you got to know your market. I don't know if an EV's Ferrari's market. What's up, Sam? They both get me from point A to point B. Yeah, but I mean, if you're just looking to get from point A to point B to point B, you're not buying a Ferrari either. I mean, this is coming from the top 3 least likely person to buy a Ferrari in the world anyway. If I had, you know, I'd buy a Lambo over a Ferrari, realistically. Again, Oracle popping up, Nvidia moving up. We're at 185s right now. Even Nvidia can go green on the day. It's still red technically, but... Again, Alphabet getting into the U.S. high-grade bond market added to a borrowing spree. I thought markets would be a little bit more exciting today, but I guess not. Yeah, again, Strategy and Bitmon and Virgin Tech and other big stocks are moving. Again, Hims is down after getting sued by Novo this morning. Look at HIMS. Nvidia's up after ChatGPT and others are debuting potentially, or ChatGPT are debuting new models today or this week sometime. Yeah, again, I'm looking at the 200 exponential for a lot of this stuff, but again, Nasdaq's a little quiet here. 200 exponential's way down there on the Nasdaq. I just don't want that right there. I'd rather wait. We did reject at this level, but maybe the previous closing price at like 25.1. I'm looking at 25,000 as well. I'd accept a McLaren. I like McLarens. McLarens are nice. Like, I'd drive a McLaren. So the IMF chief is now speaking. Plays down the dollar short-term variations. And speaking of Ferrari, you can take a look at race stock. It doesn't really move a lot, though. It's done well, though, the last 10 years. But in gold, still over $5,000 an ounce, but I'm watching 5K for gold. I think 5,000 is the psychological level. It's right below here. At the lows of the day. So we've tested 5,000 a couple different times for gold, and so I think watching 5K and gold makes sense just because so many other people are going to be paying attention to that specific level. Again, MicroStrategy saying between February 2nd and 8th, they bought over 1,100 Bitcoin worth about 90 million. Yeah. Again, the IMF chief is speaking, but it's kind of quiet today. I mean, look, 8:30 is almost here. And we don't really have anything going on. Yeah, we did reject right here, so I'm looking to maybe buy a pullback in the Nasdaq here, if we can. We bought a little bit on this dip, a very small amount. Good wait. I want to give it a chance to bounce up a little bit more here. $5. We made a good bit last week, so we made a couple hundred Friday at least. I don't mind this because this is right here, but don't we get the jobs report today that we didn't get on Friday? No. So the jobs report comes out Wednesday. It was pushed from last Friday to Wednesday this week. CPI comes out Friday. Jobs report comes out Wednesday. Jobless claims come out Thursday. Retail sales and import-export data come out tomorrow. So Tuesday through Friday, we got a bunch of stuff going on. All right, there we go. We're now green. Take a little bit more off here. I like a little bit more, but I could probably just hold this and sit on this now for a little while. Yeah, jobs report comes out Wednesday this week. It's delayed data from Alphabet is again seeking to raise about $15 billion from the bond sale. Yeah, Bitcoin is very flat, still at 69,000. Trying to give this time, but I don't hate the pullback here. I could always add more to hymns too. I don't think I want to though here, to be honest. Should I add to my hymns trade? I think there's too much risk, and I'm already in a very small position with like a very small amount of risk, and I'm very green on the day already from Oracle. The more I just think maybe I shouldn't mess with it. The Nasdaq's just not doing it. Maybe I should trade gold and silver. Alright, that's better. Take some off here. Go ahead and cut that right there. I probably could have held longer. I mean, I'm green on the day, but please don't add to hymns. Do it for the hair you've lost. Bro, look at this head of hair right here, bro. Top 3 least losing hair person ever out there right now. Honestly, I had a moment, you know. I had a period of time, a moment in time, in which I thought I was losing my hair. I remember I got alopecia, you know. My wife had to come along and be like, John, stop it, bro. You've got the top 3 thickest hair ever right now. Like, put that up, dude. You don't need that. And her logic was right. She was like, it might make you lose hair more than you're losing right now. You're not losing your hair. Look at your hair, bro. And she was honestly right. And the side effects of some of that stuff are nasty, bro. I don't want to, you know. I don't know if y'all have ever read the side effects for some of that stuff, but they're not good. I should have held, honestly. Look, we're pushing up right now. But hey, listen. Base hits, guys. Base hits. It doesn't need to be a big home run every time. 41 and a virgin. Any advice? Watch the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin. You know. That's my advice to you. Good luck. Good luck, man. I wish you the best. Buy SoFi if I want that type of risk. Should I? You know what? I might add to SoFi here. Let's try. I don't hate it. Let's see. My problem with TOS, dude, here's the problem. Is that, like, you can't really save your button layouts anywhere. You know? Like, anytime you turn the platform stops working if you close it over the weekend. And it basically makes you redo it every freaking day. Like, fix your freaking programming here so far. Or TOS. Like, do better. I feel like Tom sold this to TD Ameritrade years ago, and they have not updated since. They bought it. TD Ameritrade bought TOS for like $400 million years and years ago, before Schwab bought TD Ameritrade. With that said, though, we just bought some more SoFi. Let's see what happens. But yeah. Yeah, I'll buy SoFi down here. Yeah, TOS hasn't updated at all, man. Yeah, Yeah, rest in peace to the Three Doors Down, dude. As a millennial that grew up in the 90s, you know, I was kind of sad a little bit when I heard that news. I was like, man, he put out some hits. You know, he put out some hits. Rest in peace to Brad from Three Doors Down. Y'all are late. What are y'all doing? Love you. Yeah, rest in peace to that guy. Yeah, Robinhood. Is it time to buy Robinhood? Hey, bud. Y'all are late. Love you, bro. Have a good day, dude. My son's exactly like I was as a kid. Like, literally exactly like I was. My dad even sees my son and daughter interact. My dad's like, your son acts exactly like you. You know? Robinhood earnings this week. Yeah, Robinhood earnings this week are interesting, and that's really the only major earnings report that we have here. Yeah, that's really the only big one. Nasdaq's starting to dip though here. Let's see if it holds. I want to buy this again here. I kind of do. I mean, we have Cleveland Cliffs Monday this morning. None of this is really big. On semi after the close. A couple other silver companies, Upwork. Coca-Cola tomorrow, Spotify tomorrow, Datadog tomorrow, CVS Health tomorrow. So we'll get a couple software companies dropping earnings tomorrow. Specifically, again, software companies have been on a big slump. Spotify down pretty big over the last week. The software companies have been getting hit. Here's Spotify, which reports earnings tomorrow. Datadog reports earnings tomorrow. So we'll see if some of these software companies can rebound here. But it's been rough for them. It's been rough for them. The UK Labour MP Sarwar is reportedly expected to directly call for Prime Minister Starmer to resign, according to the Times. And NEC Director Hassett says they got inflation way down from the Biden era via CNBC. You guys agree with this? The president is supposed to do a TV interview at it looks like it's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Again, the president is supposed to participate in a TV interview. It looks like 3 o'clock today. 20 GMT. Oracle is upgraded at D.A. Davidson's. LI is downgraded at JP Morgan as well. NVIDIA earnings, I believe, are at the end of this month in February. So NVIDIA is usually a little bit farther away. So Hassett says lower job numbers shouldn't trigger panic. Should expect slightly lower job numbers. And again, so this is breaking news as well. Again, should expect slightly lower job numbers. Lower job numbers shouldn't trigger panic. I don't know, man. I think the job numbers were bad last week. Again, last week, guys, if you didn't tune into the show last week or watch markets really in general, we had a number of different jobs reports show up last week. We had Challenger job cuts show the highest job cuts in January since 2009. We saw the JOLTS job openings, or hirings basically, was way lower at 6.5 versus 7.2 million expected. So lower hirings. We saw quits increase to over 3 million, higher than previously. We saw jobless claims unemployment spike. So unemployment claims spiked last week. And then we had the ADP data show up. I believe it showed up at 22,000 versus 40-something thousand expected last week. So every single jobs report we got last week, literally every single one, was weaker for jobs than expected. Again, Challenger job cuts, jobless claims unemployment, JOLTS job openings, quits, ADP data, all weaker than expected. All weaker than expected. So it wasn't a good week for jobs. Jobs market kind of looked scary last week. And so I don't know if Hassett's necessarily right here where he says lower jobs shouldn't trigger panic. I'm not saying I'm panicking, but it's looking weak for jobs. And again, with that said, gold, silver, sitting over 5,000. The dollar index today, down $97. CPI on Friday. Yeah, CPI on Friday is important. So again, this week, guys, we got a bunch of different reports. Specifically, we have sorry, Sam, I'll get to that in a minute, brother. I got you. Just give me a second. But yeah, so this week again, retail sales data tomorrow. So tomorrow we have import export data, retail sales data. 8:30. Wednesday, we have non-farm payrolls, unemployment data expected at 55,000, previous was 50K. Unemployment expected at 4.4%. Hourly wages expected at 0.3%. This is all for January, so it's recent data. Jobless claims and existing home sales Thursday. And then Friday, we have CPI inflation data. We finally have some expectations here for inflation data. And again, they're looking at 0.3% month over month for CPI inflation, 2.5% on the year, which is lower than a lot of people expected it right now. 2.7% last time. Looking at 2.5%. Core is expected at 2.5 as well. 2.6 last time and 0.3% on the month for both core and headline inflation. So again, we will see some movement from this data depending on how much over or under expectations it is this week. If it's higher than expected, it'll push yields up. If it's lower than expected for inflation data, it'll push yields down. And the labor market will give us the opposite. If we have stronger jobs than expected, actually stronger jobs than expected would do the same thing. Yields go up. Weaker jobs than expected, yields go down. Again, is Hassett still speaking? No, not really. Yeah, so again, NEC's Hassett says should expect slightly lower job numbers. Lower numbers shouldn't trigger panic. All right, I'm also seeing that retail investors are getting into gold and silver funds. The largest physical-backed gold ETF has attracted 16 billion inflows from individual investors over the last 12 months. The largest physical silver ETF, which is SLV, has seen over 4 billion in retail flow-ins. Over the past 5 months, 9 billion of GLD ETF, or 56% of the total over the last year. And for SLV, 3 billion retail inflows over the same period, 3 times more than the preceding 7 months. So retail going all in on gold and silver, at least recently. And again, with that said, here's gold. I'll trade this if we get some good action today. I think when you remove the cooking of the job numbers, they're actually going down an average of 22,000 per month. So do you guys think we should cut rates earlier than June? Because that's the next likely time for a rate cut is June. Although we did see odds spike last week after all of this weak numbers in the jobs market last week. We did see the odds of a March cut increase. It was at, I think, at 10%. It's now at almost 20%. But we did see it go up a little bit here. And again, this week will influence that heavily as well, just because of the payroll data on Wednesday and the CPI inflation on Friday. If we get weak payrolls, it's going to become more likely that we're going to cut rates in March. If we get high unemployment, it's going to be more likely we cut rates in March. If we get low inflation, it's going to be more likely we cut rates in March. But yeah, we will see. NASDAQ bouncing. See, I was looking at this level too, this previous closing price on the NASDAQ, which is right around 25.1. We bounced right there. So we did get some news recently that Chinese regulators have instructed major banks to limit new purchases of U.S. treasuries and reduce large existing positions, citing concentration risk and market volatility, according to sources. This, delivered verbally in recent weeks, does not apply to China's official state holdings. Officials frame the move as risk diversification rather than geopolitics or doubt about U.S. creditworthiness, and set no specific targets or deadlines. I'm not showing, Sam, that there's any official CME price floor on silver, but there is margin and risk controls plus normal price limit logic, not a published hard floor specifically. And if that's wrong, let me know. I think there is a null chance that we will not cut rates in March. So you think we're going to cut rates in March, basically? What's your logic there? You think jobs data is going to continue to show weakness leading into March? Inflation data is going to show stability, and jobs data is going to show weakness, essentially, is my guess. If you think we're going to cut rates in March, that would be a reason for it. NVIDIA earnings, I believe, is February 25th. NVIDIA earnings February 25th, 4 p.m. Would cutting rates solve the core issue? Reason for job losses cuts? If you take tech, for example, I don't think it does, and thus wouldn't be an effective measure. Depends on what you look at. Yeah, I mean, if the cuts are from AI tech replacement, the question is, would lowering interest rates allow businesses to expand and hire more people at a rate that compensates for it? And I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a very nuanced issue. But yeah, I think it would do more than nothing. So I think it would do something. And I think if we just cut rates, I think if we just cut rates and don't do QE, and at the very least keep the balance sheet the same size versus expanding it, then I think, you know, it's a little bit safer way to do it versus super printing, you know, which might be what Bitcoin wants. Again, you look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, I don't know, man. I assume Bitcoin would react well to the weak labor data we got last week, because weak labor data means easing potential, and easing potential has, at least over the last 6 months, historically been seen as good for Bitcoin. But again, Bitcoin did not really react well to last week. I think it had other pressures going on outside of that, so I don't think it's purely from... I don't think the drops had anything to do with the weak labor data that we're seeing in crypto specifically, but I think there's just a lot of selling pressure on Bitcoin regardless of the jobs. I think jobs are going to be in the toilet. It's everywhere, not replacing vacant positions, wanting to see how AI shakes out. And I think Warsh will do whatever he can to get the outcome the president wants. Yeah, but Warsh isn't taking office until May, at the end of May. June, whenever, is going to be the first FOMC decision that includes Warsh, right? That's why the odds of rate cuts spike so much after May, is because Warsh is going to be the FOMC chairman. Again, looking at our poll, is it time to buy Bitcoin? 53% say no, 47% say yes. But prediction market numbers should be up big. Would cutting rates solve a core issue of job losses? Yeah, I don't know. Are we gonna stay red or green by the end of the day? I don't know, chat, let me know. I can do another poll, but Nasdaq's right at the 200 exponential, but I want to see if it bounces right here at the 200 EMA. Oh, I don't know when I bumped the mic. My bad, guys. I got it. Yeah, I must have bumped the mic somewhere. I don't know where. But yeah, oil's up slightly this week on the Iran worry still. Nasdaq is so quiet this morning, though. I went ahead and just bought this. I know I'm back up. It's not me. Hit the live button. Some of you guys are a little late. Bitcoin is basically unchanged. It's up slightly. I mean, we got a little bit higher lows here, but it's still pretty quiet. Very good morning. Some of my short last night, 10 a.m. Super Bowl team won. I think what goes on is if I get too close to the mic, it mutes it. If I go like this, so I think when I'm talking in the mic, sometimes it cuts off. I'm gonna take half off there again and see if we can ride up some more here. Again, Tim Scott pins a letter to SEC on Warner Bros. Discovery and Netflix deal, according to New York Times Dealbook. Again, so China shipments to the United States also slid sharply in January. U.S. container imports fell 6.8% in January from a year earlier after a tariff-driven surge last year. Imports from China dropped 22.7% to 771,093 through China. Overall volumes remained above historical levels, though. There's an impact of U.S. trade policy on consumer demand and economic activity, apparently. So, speaking of Netflix here, I'm in one more contract here. I'm going to let this roll a little bit. I'll see what happens moving forward. But gold coming back down here. Again, Netflix is green, but look at gold. Silver falling too with it. Silver falling down under $79 an ounce for silver here. So, ECB's Lagarde confirms that Villeroy will be stepping down from the European Central Bank. Oh, Whisker's turning off the mic. Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. We have labor reports. We got CPI inflation data. It's a bunch of stuff going on right now. Again, today's quietest day. Rest of the week's pretty busy for markets, honestly. Today's pretty quiet. You think the data will be good or bad this week? You think the jobs data will be good or bad? Higher or lower than expected? I'm going to go with lower just because that's what we've seen over the last week. And I do think if a lot of the other data shows weakness in jobs and then somehow we get... I did buy this dip here, chat, just to show you. Probably. If the jobs data comes out stronger than expected and everything else was weak, I think that's kind of weird too. We're going to take a little bit more off. Cut it right there before we go flat. Bad data. I mean, we also have third. Well, the shutdown's over. All right, the shutdown, the government resumed last week, so the shutdown's over. The reason we're getting the labor report on on Wednesday is because it was supposed to come out Friday, but the shutdown pushed it back a couple days. So now we are getting it Wednesday, the day after tomorrow. Weaker jobs than expected? Maybe. Maybe. And silver falling down. So Chinese President Xi urges technology self-reliance, urges technology breakthrough and self-reliance. Outside of that, it's a little bit quiet. Again, Besson says unruly China trading is behind gold swings earlier, like 6 hours ago. Again, Novo's still suing Hims. Hims is down. I asked the chat if it's time to buy this. They said no earlier this morning. Y'all might be right. Honestly, it might be a little sketchy to buy this right now. Again, I'm curious to see what software does this week. We got some software company names dropping tomorrow morning. Specifically, we have Shopify, software company, dropping earnings tomorrow morning. We have, what was it, Shopify and Datadog, DDOG, dropping earnings tomorrow. It's at 1:15. Payrolls lower, CPI hotter? Maybe. Great, maybe I can get my silver crowns this week. I don't know when it actually was, but Nasdaq is so quiet though. Here's the previous closing price on the NQ. Where's my pen? This is the previous closing price right here, this light blue line. Nasdaq is still sitting right around that, so we're very flat. Again, silver's been dropping short term here though. Here's silver. Again, Hassett also said earlier that we should expect slightly lower jobs numbers, but he did also reiterate that, what did he say? He reiterated that lower numbers shouldn't trigger panic necessarily. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to trade this morning. Let's see if we can find something. I was going to buy this 200 exponential again, but buy gold? Is it time to buy gold or silver again? Let me know which one, gold or silver. Which one's better to buy right now? I'm not telling you to buy it, not investment advice. Again, gold and silver. They're technically green on the day. Gold is over 5,000 an ounce. Silver was over 80s. I believe silver's back down to 79s right now. But let me know which one you'd prefer. I don't know which one I'd rather buy. I think gold has better long-term stability. Silver has the bigger potential for runs, though. And see, I didn't even touch my mic that time and it muted it again. But yeah, I think gold, a little bit better long-term stability. Silver, a little bit better potential for big runs. We asked people earlier, is it time to buy Bitcoin? 55% say no. 45% say yes. Gold beats Bitcoin? Yeah, maybe. Again, no data today. We do have some Fed speakers. Again, China's president says tech reliance is key for China's modernization. Hampton's home prices are hitting record summer rentals filling. Home prices hit a record in the fourth quarter, driven by Wall Street bonuses and tech wealth, according to Douglas Elliman and Miller Samuel. Median sale price in the Hamptons jumped 34% to 2.34 million. Average rose to 3.76 million. Sales above 5 million reached a record 82. Also, Massey is demanding Lutnick's resignation after the Epstein file release. United Health at 275 right now. Is it United Health time to buy? This thing makes such big swings though, man. Look at this. Like, I bought it here, guys. I bought it around here. I don't remember exactly where I bought it, but it was around here somewhere. I rode it all the way up to over 300s, and then I got out. And now it's fallen all the way back to 276 this year. And so the question is it time to buy United Health again? I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I think you can go either way with this thing. Again, Chinese president said scientific and technological self-reliance is essential to building modern socialist China during a visit to Beijing Tech Innovation Park. Ten-year yields are now up 7 basis points. Could hit a 4-month high at this rate at an all-time when it has fallen considerably in the first few weeks of the year, and there's been some better underlying numbers from UK. No to United Health. I think you should. Yes, double bottom. Nasdaq back down to technically red on the day. Although we do see higher highs, higher lows this morning in NQ. Not time to buy United Health based on their months. Silver going back up to 100 according to AI. AI's never wrong though, right? All right, Nasdaq started to fall a little bit though here. Let's see if it pops back or what happens. Didn't buy this dip, very small, but I bought this dip here. You can kind of see it. Go. Spike over the 200 exponential. Like this bounce. Got it right there. Got a really nice cushion on the day now. Thoughts on Palantir? Has Palantir bounced back at all yet? Or is it still down pretty significantly? Had earnings. Dropped down to 130s here. Crazy movements though for Palantir over the last few months. Bonds at risk according to Bank of America. Again, the news is light. I'm guessing it's Super Bowl Sunday yesterday, so markets are just a little quiet waiting for it. Again, NATO is expected to launch Arctic Sentry mission in the coming days, possibly later this week, according to sources. It's been pretty quiet, honestly. We haven't had a lot going on this morning. Again, Hims and Her getting sued by Novo was probably one of the big news releases that we got. Markets are kind of on edge, waiting to see what some of this economic data does this week. So Bitcoin again back down under 70,000 here if you look at it. Starting to fall. 68,000s again for crypto. Bitcoin. Time. Yeah, I don't know why my mic keeps turning off like that. I caught it this time though. I saw it go blank. Yeah, I gotta move it a little bit farther away. Is it time to buy Hims dip? I asked that earlier. Most people said no. I think there's risk too. I think it depends on how this goes. I think it's pretty extended on the downside, and I think Hims makes some money, but I don't think it's guaranteed for Hims. I mean, if you look at Hims has been profitable, but the question is, does it continue to be? if this lawsuit goes through. Right, so again, here's HIMS EPS graph. So again, HIMS is now profitable technically. They have been for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarters. They've been profitable, so that's 2 years. So for 2 years, HIMS has been a profitable company. The question is their margins declining, and how does this lawsuit affect them? Right, so I think it's high risk, high reward with HIMS. Their growth is okay still, but I think it's high risk, high reward. You know, if you're right and, you know, they continue to be successful, you might make some money. If you're wrong, you might lose a bunch. Is what it is. So we'll see who's right or wrong in this instance. No to HIMS. App loving nice bounce. Morning, folks. What's up, Tiny? Getting sued is never good. Problem for HIMS is that their products are not unique, pure marketing. Yeah, but sometimes marketing is enough. Bitcoin's still falling back down. It's at 68.6 right now. Sometimes marketing is enough, though. You don't just need unique products. Nobody's always unique, you know. And so it's really about... I think HIMS was one of the first ones to do mail order, though, shipping for some of this stuff. So many better stocks to play. Robinhood, yeah, Robinhood does earnings this week. Again, Robinhood earnings after Robinhood has had a really tough time from Bitcoin fall. Robinhood has rebounded a little bit here. Robinhood earnings are going to be specifically this week on Tuesday. Tomorrow we have Robinhood earnings, so we'll see what happens with earnings next week, or tomorrow. 4:05 p.m. Eastern time is when they're scheduled to drop, along with Lyft, Ford, Astera, Upstart, Cloudflare, Gilead, and more. So Zillow as well drops. So we'll see what Robinhood does, but I get a lot of ads for competitors similar to HIMS these days. I do too, to be honest. But I think HIMS is also one of the bigger ones, right? They don't need complete market share to win. So depends on how much Novo is going to go after them, how successful that lawsuit is. Yeah, Apple's been moving up just because Apple's seen as a little bit more hedging against AI overextension, right? So Apple's actually been moving up all of this year. It's green on the year. Here's Apple. Again, Apple, one of the biggest criticisms regarding Apple and the big AI bull run was that they weren't as enwrapped in AI as people would prefer them to be. Now, that dynamic could, you know, a lot of people said they underperformed relative to other AI companies like Nvidia or others. But now that there's also this overextension worry with AI and tech, Apple has been one of the companies that have been more resilient from it, from their earnings report and everything else. They've been moving up since early January. Why? Because they're not as, I guess the logic is they're not as at risk as some of these other extended tech companies is what it is. So again, we got about 30 minutes left. Bitcoin's still falling down though on a 5-minute chart. Look at this. Bitcoin down to 68.5s right now. Low of the day is down here at 68.3s or so. We're at 68.6s for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still falling here, chat. NVO is better buy than Hims. Yeah, Novo's had a tough time too, I think. But I think that's probably why they're suing Hims, is to try to get some of their business back. Again, look at Bitcoin fall. Bitcoin down to 68.5s right now. Yeah, I wonder what options are looking like in regards to Robinhood, like all options. Assuming they have good numbers, but I'm curious if what do you guys think about a Robinhood call option right now? Not an investment professional, not investment advice. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Understand all this stuff. Can't guarantee anything. What do y'all think about a hood call option right now? No? What's up, Femi? Part of the logic with Apple is they didn't chase AI spin. They will implement it better and cheaper. Yeah, I know. Again, I think a lot of people criticized Apple. But the reality of it is Apple has been less overzealous with AI. And so I agree. Yeah, I think Apple's benefiting from that right now. Again, the president proposes ending right of fired federal workers to appeal their dismissal to independent board, according to a government statement. So again, he's essentially seeking to narrow the legal pathway for fired federal workers to return to jobs, according to a government statement. Again, he's supposed to speak today at 3 o'clock during a closed press TV interview at 3 o'clock today, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tom Lee's Bitmine bought 40,000 plus ETH worth $82 million. I like Hood, but if crypto keeps taking. Did I get the call option? Let's see. All right, take a look. There's a 0 day. Here's a Wednesday call option. Fridays I like a little bit better here for Robinhood. Strike price of 83. Robinhood at 84.30s for a put. Call option 495. $82. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I could go with a longer term option as well. February 20th is one. They have gone up a little bit recently though in price. I can't buy it until the opening bell. I'm looking at maybe one of these call options. I'm gonna leave it up. I have to buy it at the open. I forgot options. So we'll see. I might buy a call option on Robinhood. I think Robinhood. The only question mark is crypto and how that's going to continue to negatively affect them if they're so enwrapped in crypto, right? I think that's the biggest risk. Bitcoin is crap. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I know it is. Listen, it's sketchy right now. Long term, it should be okay, but it's definitely a scary market. Again, XAI is nearing $3 billion deal with Apollo for chips, according to the information. XAI burned over $1 billion monthly through last fall, according to the information. Again, Apollo nears $3.4 billion lending deal for NVIDIA chips leased to XAI. According to the information. Crypto's going down until October? Maybe. We'll see. All right. I agree. October down. It's always a 12-month bear market from all-time highs. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Look at Bitcoin, though. I'm watching this low of the day level on Bitcoin. Watching right here. Wait. And I might buy a Robinhood call option depending on where it goes. I might see how it reacts to the opening bell, but I am kind of looking at a Robinhood call option for Friday to next week, maybe, is what I'm looking at. We'll see. We'll see what Robinhood does. Again, Bitcoin's still falling down here. Under 68.5s as of now. Here's the low of the day. Getting close to the low of the day on Bitcoin. Let's see what happens. Some of this volatility wakes up from over the weekend. I don't like the call option. Not until we see the end of crypto winter. Yeah, the call option is basically, though, like, okay, the logic of the call option is that I have a limited risk with it, right? So there's only a certain amount I can lose regardless of how much Robinhood goes down. Number two is that Robinhood is already corrected to a weak Bitcoin, and it's a short-term option. Meaning, I'm looking at a small rebound into earnings. I think the market has already gotten baked into weak crypto with Robinhood. Weak crypto holdings. Robinhood's down huge percentages from 150 down to 80s. That's a very large percentage. I think it's logical to assume maybe Robinhood could rebound back up. I'm not saying it's going to happen. And again, I don't know if I'm actually going to take the trade. But essentially, I think Robinhood might continue down long term, but it could bounce short. And so we'll see what happens. That's kind of the logic. And again, I might be wrong, but with the small option trade, it's a limited risk. Yeah, I'm in Oracle right now. Oracle's up. Oracle's up to 150, which is nice. Oracle. If that holds. Y'all are worried for me? Look, again, if I lose on the option trade, we can have fun with it. Should I take the Robinhood option trade? Let me know in chat right now. Yeah, we got 20 minutes until the market opens. Looking at 25,000 on the NQ. Yes, no, yes, yes. Let that sucker fly. Don't do it. No, YOLO. No, yes. Get two. Make it rain. No. Risk it for the biscuit. You wouldn't listen to chat anyway. That's probably true. Buy the dips. What's the worst that could happen? No. Robinhood is a gift. Consult the Magic 8 Ball. Doesn't Tesla have a stake in crypto? Longer term, just watch crypto and how it goes. Split down the middle here, man. We got a lot of people telling me not to do it, and then we got a lot of people telling me to do it. I don't know. We'll see. I dare you. Yeah. Again, we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. We'll see what the opening bell gives us. Apollo is again nearing a $3 billion deal to finance investment vehicle to purchase NVIDIA chips, leasing them to XAI. See what the opening bell brings us. Don't buy Hood. Don't do it, Juan. That has the wisdom. You seem obsessed with the Hood deal. What Hood deal? I mean, I'm watching it. It's down a lot. Check silver. Silver under 80s. Back up from 63. Gold over 5K. Watching gold and silver today. We'll see what happens. If you like Robinhood, you might as well buy MicroStrategy. I would say they're different. Hood holds a lot of Bitcoin, but does other things. You know, MicroStrategy, you know. Gold is what you want. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, HIMS is down. Again, I'm in HIMS, but I'm in like 3 shares of. So. HIM dropped because of loss of Novo battle. Yeah, Novo's going after HIMS because of they basically said they're selling knockoff weight loss drugs. HIMS is down to under $18 a share. I didn't end up buying this dip. Robinhood's doing sports betting by DraftKings. All right, guys. Opening bell, 18 minutes. Should I buy this NASDAQ dip? Question. I almost want to. Let's see. Green on the day. I might try. I bought the NASDAQ dip here. I don't know if it's the right move, but so far we're green on it. I might add some more to it. I'm down. I don't think I'm going to add to this, though. Pretty green on the day, even with this. Okay, we're back green in this position. Now we're green. Not really green that much, though. We buy dips. Gold is what you want, but silver is what you need. All right, there we go. Lovely trade. We'll take it. Let's see if it moves up more. Not going to be a red trade now, though. Go. Take this off right here. We're really green on the day, though, which is nice. See if that continues. Friday dead cat bounce. Maybe. Again, I'm looking at 25,000 on the NASDAQ. I think 25,000 makes the most sense right here. Here's 25K. Big psychological whole dollar number. A lot of the time markets react to big round numbers, and I think 25,000 NASDAQ specifically is big. I think if you look at the S&P 500 as well, 7,000 above us is interesting. And then we got the low of the day, which is really just under that on the NASDAQ here. All right, 15 minutes chatting. We're going to day trade live at the opening bell. We're just kind of sitting tight. The news is boring. NASDAQ's been breaking down a little bit here, but no economic data today, although Bitcoin did kind of bounce with us here. Again, the low of the day, we tapped the low of the day for a split second of Bitcoin and then popped right back up. So I think we might have choppiness this week, guys, because we got economic data this week. We got retail sales, import, export data tomorrow. Wednesday, we have non-farm payrolls, unemployment. Thursday, we have jobless claims. Friday, we have CPI inflation. We have economic data this week, and next week, I believe, is busy as well, if I remember correctly here. Let me see. So I think we have more data coming out next week here. Yeah, next week, we got GDP, PCE, inflation, and more. So next week, we have jobless claims, durable goods, Empire State. Next week we have PCE inflation. If we hit 25K, I'm for sure buying. Robinhood was at $14 2 years ago. Government's been back open for like a week. The only government shutdown that we're at risk for is DHS. So, like, no practical economic data hits. Yeah, so the February 13th deadline is just the Department of Homeland Security, which is just Coast Guard, FEMA, TSA, CBP, and ICE. So a DHS shutdown is likely, or at least a serious risk, going into February 13th, but the rest of them are pretty muted. I mean, we're not going to have any delays in economic data or anything from that. It's just the Department of Homeland Security. That's all it is. All right, guys, 13 minutes. $50K on the queue. Might chop today. Yeah, I think with all the economic data. With all the economic data this week, it's going to be kind of choppy. I think leading into Wednesday. I think tomorrow could be choppy too. Don, you forgot the most important earnings tomorrow? You mean Robinhood earnings? We got Shopify. We got some software earnings tomorrow is what we have. So we have Spotify, not Shopify. Spotify, Datadog, and a couple other ones. We have some software companies tomorrow. And we have Robinhood in the evening. So, Upstart as well, UPST. So again, we'll see what we get, but kind of quiet leading into the day. Let's do another poll here. We asked people, well, is it time to buy Bitcoin? We got about 11 minutes left. 11 minutes left. Are you bullish or bearish for the opening bell? Do a hood poll? Alright, so are you bullish or bearish for today's open? 10 minutes. NASDAQ still breaking down here. Here's 25K right underneath us. Yeah, you can vote on the new poll. I just bought HIMS. Hey, good luck. Again, S&P and NASDAQ breaking down right now. Red on the day again. We'll see if we get crazy swings like we got last week. Last week was wild in terms of some of the swings that we saw in crypto and really other markets. Again, on the 11th, we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment data. January jobs report is expected to leave a weak picture of labor markets. Payroll growth is estimated to pick up to around 80,000 with some firming in labor, according to Wells Fargo. We'll see. Again, looking at our polls so far, 51% are bearish, 49% are bullish. Kind of 50-50 split down the middle here. Flip a coin. I need to get a magic 8-ball. A couple people have told me to get one. Again, 56% said it's not time to buy Bitcoin. 44% said it is. Nine minutes. Yeah, I'm in Oracle. It's up today, which is good. Friday, we have CPI inflation data. Friday, we have CPI. Wednesday, we have payrolls. Thursday, we have jobless claims. Tuesday, tomorrow, we have retail sales and durable goods. I think it's... No. Import-export data tomorrow is what it is. Bullish or bearish on gold this week? Chat. Will gold and silver go up or down this week? They corrected big last week. Here's gold. And they're still over 5K though, but they were at 5,600 for gold. It dropped as low as 4,400 and then filled some of the gap here. That's still a big drop. We're filled about half of the gap. We're about 50% up from the lows last week. Silver, I believe, is still right around 80, but a little bit lower. It's at 79.50s. Hit lows of 63s Friday. Friday, right, or Thursday, was it? Thursday. Hit lows of 63s on Thursday. Again, silver not rebounding as much as gold has, but silver gap at 78. Yeah, there's been rumors circulating in the UK about Starmer stepping down. Sources close to Morgan, Labour First Minister in Wales, insist that she is not planning to say anything on Starmer's leadership today, despite reports to the contrary. We also got other reports that he's not stepping down, most likely. But there were rumors this morning. All right, guys, 6 minutes. Looking at our poll numbers, 55% are bearish today. Showing a lot of bulls, though. Yeah, I'm showing a lot of bulls. Again, we don't have any economic data today. Not really. We got CB employment trends at 10, but it's pretty much nothing here. Consumer inflation expectations for January do come out at 11, though, by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Waller speaks today. Bostic speaks today, I think. But it's overall quiet day for economics until tomorrow when a lot of stuff comes out. Wednesday's the biggest day versus maybe CPI inflation. And the NASDAQ has mostly been dropping down all morning. Slightly red, though. Previous closing price at 25.1s. We're at 25.5s. 25.50. So, yeah, we're a little red over the last, hour. I'd say we picked up... The heck is this playing on my music? Why would you start a song like that? Dow's right around 50K. 50,077. PC was elevated before the wash meeting, so yeah, they knew, just like, yeah. All right, guys, here we go. 5 minutes. We're green on the day nicely here, so we got a pretty decent cushion. Nasdaq's actually starting to pop back up a little bit too here if you look at it. Nasdaq up to 25.7s. If it holds, 4 minutes left or so. Bitmine is now holding 10 billion in crypto and cash. Bitmine Emerging Tech reported 10 billion in total holdings, including crypto cash and investments. As of February 8th, they held 4.33 million ETH. Look at this bounce in Bitcoin here too, guys. Bitcoin back up to almost 69s again. Scheinbaum also says no deal with the United States on critical minerals was signed. Open silver goes up. Yeah, I don't know who made that song, but they've got to understand. You make that song and you put that in the beginning of it, which sounds like a bunch of chipmunks. You got to know bounce rate has got to be high. But yeah, apparently Scheinbaum is speaking on the U.S. and Mexico, announced a U.S.-Mexico action plan on critical minerals in a 60-day process to develop coordinated trade policies and identify projects, but that's a framework and work plan, not a signed, ratified trade deal. So in a recent nationalistic tone remark, Scheinbaum also stressed that Mexico will never hand over its natural resources. So silver gold premiums will get too high. Bears make sense, bulls make money. Kind of. All right, guys, we got 3 minutes until the market opens. 3 minutes. Again, a little quiet of a day. Tomorrow we actually get some stuff, but today's been kind of quiet. Not a lot of stuff going on. Markets are down slightly, but they're not down enough to cause panic, I would say. They're pretty much flat. Again, over the weekend, Bitcoin reclaimed 72,000 and is now back down to 68. We'll see what the opening bell does, but kind of a muted pre-market session. Let's see what happens. More minutes. Yeah, we got about 2 minutes left. Silver and gold premiums will get too high. Investors will want to choose stocks that are less risky. Bitcoin is safer. Maybe. All right, guys, here's NASDAQ. We got the Dow on the left. We'll trade some of this. A little boring now. Buy Nvidia. Nvidia's already up today, I think, right? Nvidia at 184s. Was at 170, just to put this into perspective, Thursday evening. Was at 170s. Now 184, so it's up about $14 a share in the last 2 trading days. I mean, long-term Bitcoin's probably going to be fine, but short-term, you never know. All right, guys, 1 minute. One minute. We'll see what kind of opening bell. Maybe we'll get some unlocked volatility at the opening bell here. We'll see. Micro silver margin jumped again. Yeah, the Dow still fading. And silver back up to 80s. So we'll watch silver as well. 20 seconds here, 20 seconds. We're green on the day already. We got a big enough cushion here, but bro, whatever cold I had last week, man, my sinuses are still freaking stopped up. Over to the moon. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. Hit the live button next to the play button if you hear the bell late. Hit the live button next to the play button. You'll catch up to the stream. Put it in 2x speed. Here's the bell. All right, silver at $80 to start the day. The NASDAQ at 25, roughly 25.50. NVIDIA is up a little bit at the opening bell. Look at NVIDIA pop here. So NVIDIA up to 186s right now, 186s. Robinhood down a little bit at the opening bell. Get Alphabet down. Robinhood down. NASDAQ under 25,000 right now as we speak here. Under 25K. NASDAQ still falling here, chat. Look at this drop. NVIDIA went up to 186s and then retraced all the way back down. But we're seeing a slump a little bit at the opening bell today. A little bit of a slump right now. Still early. Here's 25,000 right here. Little red. We just tapped lows of the day on the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ just cracked lows. NVIDIA retracing back down at the opening bell. Again, Alphabet down. Starting to bounce back up. We're over 25,000. Let's see if we hold here. Gold is popping. Yeah, NVIDIA back up. Gold up to 50/50s. NASDAQ still right around 25,000. Right around 25K. It looks weak, but it's still too close to the opening bell to really take a risk here, I think. Yeah. Alphabet bouncing back here as well. Gold still pushing here. Silver up to over 80s again. Get NVIDIA up to 186s right now. Technically green on the day. Filling some of this gap here. A little volatile of an opening bell though. I did and I gotta cut some of this. I did jump in like 3 contracts long just now. And I got in and out already. Made about $100. So we're up a couple hundred on the day. Very large cushion here though. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the rest of this. Look at NVIDIA, chat. 187s right now. NASDAQ looks weak. Oracle's doing good today. Look at Oracle. Oracle has 151s right now. I'm in Oracle. See if we get a range break right now. Alphabet just went green on the day as well. We did buy that Robinhood option too, and we're up a pretty significant percentage overall. We'll give it a second though, see if it continues. A little early. Dude, look at Oracle. Here's silver, up, gold, up, Bitcoin, down a little bit. The opening bell. SanDisk is down. Yeah, SanDisk is dumping down here. Look at SNDK right now. 550s. Down to 550s. It's time to buy this. I could day trade this. Let's try. What's the range? Pretty big range. I'll buy 10 shares. Maybe add some more to this. But we'll give it a second. Took half off. Get out of. Probably should have marketed out of that, but that's all right. Very big cushion. All right, we're out. We just made $40 in like 20 seconds. So I'll take a very small trade, but green nonetheless. Hedges a little bit against some of this risk too. I don't want to buy more though, should I? All right, we'll try to buy more here. Got 10 shares now. Half of that off. We're out. So yeah, we're up almost $100 in like a minute or so right here on SanDisk. Memory, I think, is going to continue to do well, but you never know. And Nasdaq's still bouncing here. It's right at the 200 exponential though. I got to see it over this. Here's the 200 EMA right here, so I got to wait. Amazon's dumping down. Time to buy Amazon, it might be. I would have bought Amazon if it fell a little bit more. I'll buy it right here, actually. It's not as volatile as SanDisk, so I need a larger size here. I think like 35 shares. Probably need more than that. The range isn't anywhere near SanDisk range. I wish I would have gotten more, but that's all right. Got the rebound, but the size is so small here. Little baby trade, but still green nonetheless in a lot of stuff. Should have held SanDisk too, man. I think if I would have held SanDisk, I would have made more. This trade's just so small. I'm just gonna cut it right here and take my little green out for Amazon. It's just not. I needed bigger size, and now it's too late. SanDisk has come all the way back though. 570s. SanDisk. Nasdaq testing that 200 exponential. I don't know if I want to mess with this here though. How's HIMS doing at the opening bell? Let's see. HIMS is back up a little bit from the drop it made. Alphabet. The green since the opening bell. Here's a Nvidia. 189s right now for Nvidia. I'm also in Oracle, and Oracle's up to 155s right now. Looks pretty good. I'm up a couple hundred on the day, and my Robinhood position, man. easy money. Yeah, NASDAQ up to 25 plus. Technically green on the day now for the NASDAQ here. Low off on Oracle, just checked. Jack is super green though today. Pushing Oracle up. Sentiment in the sector. OpenAI set to launch a new chat GPT model this week, according to Sam Altman. He said it's back to exceeding 10% monthly growth. CNBC. D.A. Davidson upgraded Oracle. Bernstein adjusted price target higher. Or no, to a little bit lower, actually. Maintained outperform rating, though. So analysts like an Oracle still. Again, Bitcoin and crypto. Bitcoin's popping back up, almost back up to 70,000 here. Look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's getting back up there. It wants 190s. Look at Bitcoin. 9.5s. Are we going to reverse some of this price action, though, leading into economic data next week? I'm worried about. Been a pretty strong open for a lot of stuff. I'm day trading futures a little bit here. I got one left. I already took a bunch here, though. Got this bounce. Big profit there. And lock it in. Some people asking me about like I'm up $246 right now in a few. Really? But we're up about 246 in futures. Stocks we're up about 200. Crude bouncing. Yeah, crude up to 64s. Reeves says with Starmer as prime minister, we are turning the country around. So Reeves is backing Starmer. S&P's now green. Look at Nvidia here, man. 190s for Nvidia. Nasdaq starting to slow, but Nvidia just flying higher. Robinhood popping up. Plus 87s. crude output at Venezuela's main oil region, the Orinoco Belt, has gained more than 100,000 barrels per day to some 500K BPD after cut reversal. Sources say Venezuela's crude production is close to 1 million BPD after output cut reversal. Look at Nvidia, guys, up to almost 191s right now. Again, Bitcoin got up almost to 70,000 here. It's back down to 69s. Again, silver, gold. Silver up to 81s again. Nasdaq trying to get back up there, though. Over the VWAP, over the previous closing price, and over the 200 exponential. I should have held SanDisk, though. SanDisk. Almost 600s again. Microsoft moving. Honestly, most risk assets are moving today, I would say. Microchips, S&P. Here's the SPY. SPY at 690s, green. QQQ is green. This is the NASDAQ, technically green. Apple's down since the opening bell, though, so it kind of shows like AI and tech is what's gaining here a little bit today. AI and tech. By the SpaceX IPO, I have no idea. Dow said it doesn't care. Yeah, well, I mean, like, you got to understand. Okay, NASDAQ is tech heavy. So if the NASDAQ's going up, it means tech's running. And I think that's what we see here. Meta, green. Microsoft, green. Oracle, green. Nvidia, green. And so we see tech running. Right now, SanDisk, green. So we see tech running. The Dow is less tech-centered. So you look at the Dow here. Dow's going to have more classic stocks, like Home Depot and stuff like that, I think, right? So the Dow is going to be less tech-centered. The NASDAQ's going to be more tech-centered. S&P is going to be somewhere in the middle. But S&P and NASDAQ both technically green on the day. Yeah, oil's popping up a little bit. More fears about Iran and stuff like that has been making oil jump. It's at 64.20s a barrel. Yeah, there's tech in the Dow. Hey, look. I mean, there's tech in the Dow. But it's got like Visa, Verizon, United Health, Walmart, Johnson & Johnson, Home Depot, Honeywell, McDonald's, Merck, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Coca-Cola, IBM, Goldman Sachs, Amex, Boeing, Disney, Salesforce, Chevron, Caterpillar, Nike. You know, like there's some tech in here. Specifically, you have Cisco, you have Microsoft, you have Salesforce, you have Nvidia. You know, so there's tech in the Dow, but it's less tech-centered. You know, like you look at the Mag 7, like the largest weighted stocks in the S&P and the NASDAQ. Most of those are all tech, you know. And so the Dow is just a little bit more diversified into other sectors. And so that's why the Dow can be doing one thing and the NASDAQ can be doing another based off of just the weight of different companies. Honestly, I don't like some of these companies in the Dow, though. I don't like Verizon. I don't like Johnson & Johnson. I don't mind the rest of them. I like Caterpillar. The Russell's mostly small caps. I don't like the Russell at all. Although the Russell has its time. Look at SanDisk, man. I should have held this long I took on it. SanDisk up to over 600s right now. SanDisk is still running. Nah, we don't really have news today. They're kind of quiet. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be busier. Again, the story of the day is NVIDIA and tech, man. NVIDIA 193s right now. NVIDIA's wild on this run. This NVIDIA run's big. They get a lot of stuff. Apollo nearing 3 billion chip funding deal for XAI. That's helping them for sure. A bunch of other catalysts today that might benefit NVIDIA and other microchip companies. So you see Oracle and NVIDIA rising on that news. With that said, though, we are seeing a small dip in everything here. Tesla's still down at the low 400s. It's up slightly on the day, but it's kind of flat, to be honest. I'm going to put it in sub-only mode chat, so hit that subscribe button. Again, tomorrow we have retail sales data. We have import-export data at 8:30 and more. So tomorrow we got some stuff going on. Wednesday we definitely have some stuff. Today's the one lonely day with no economic reports from me. We put it in sub-only mode, so all the subscribers, announce yourself, show us your support if we appreciate it. And yeah, we're pretty green on the day and everything, honestly. That SanDisk buy, that Amazon buy, and that Robinhood buy helped me out a lot, to be honest. I'm not saying the chat was wrong about telling me not to buy call options. You know, we'll see. Yeah. Did NVIDIA pull it back here? I made something on NVIDIA, didn't I? No, I thought I bought NVIDIA today. Maybe I bought SanDisk. Try NVIDIA right here. A 100 shares. See what happens. I want to see a continuation of this strength here. There we go. Hold this level. Oh, where I have this level on my chart. There's another one down at 191.20s, but pretty much flat right now. I want to see if it can bounce a little bit heavier here with everything else. There's also a chance that we're just choppy today. But I want to give it a second. Let's go back up. There we go. Gotta hold this though. Every time it gets up though, I might start to cover some of this. It's because every time it got pushed up, it got rejected there, so I don't want to risk too much here. We'll give it one more second though on the rest. But pretty small trade right now. Yeah, we're gonna cut this if we crack this low right here. This recent low. Got it. We lost 30 bucks. I mean, it's pretty small. And we made so much money on SanDisk and Robinhood and all the other ones that we're okay with it. We're still very green on the day and everything, but maybe I should have traded future. Futures are at the 200 exponential right now. All right, we bought the 200 exponential dip here. Take a little bit more off up there. You can see my P&L on the top of the screen right here. All right, so now we're up 340 on the day. See that right there, 340. Green is good. 200 exponential dip here, guys. Yeah, 200 EMA. Right here. What we bought. News tomorrow, retail sales, import-export data. Wednesday, payrolls, unemployment. I'm going to cut out of here, though, guys. Kind of a boring day, all things considered. I mean, we got some moves here in markets at the open. It's a little bit more boring of a day. We just haven't had a lot of fun today. It's been a little bit boring. So I'm going to cut out of here, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early. Robinhood earnings tomorrow. We have some big software earnings going live tomorrow as well. And so, again, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. And, yeah, we'll see what we get tomorrow here. But be safe. Again, tomorrow we got retail sales, import-export data, Robinhood earnings, and more. So good luck. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be safe. Oh, wait, I got to schedule the stream tomorrow. Do that. Retail sales tomorrow. Nasdaq's still bouncing here. Let's see if Nvidia holds at this level. Let's see. Oh, wait, tomorrow's Tuesday as well. We got the ADP weekly jobs report. And yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Sorry, music's off. I know. It's awkward. Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great day. Again, data tomorrow. We'll see what that looks like. But yeah, all right. Now I'm actually leaving. So I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Y'all be safe today. Kind of wild. Later, chat.